This is the Jack Murphy Podcast. Here's your host, Jack Murphy.
Welcome back to the Jack Murphy Podcast, and almost happy birthday, America. And today, a special treat, ladies and gentlemen. It's just me, Jack Murphy, on the Jack Murphy Podcast. Yep, John Garrett, my partner, he lives on a steady diet of cigarettes, Red Bull, Walmart beef pot pies, and what else? One other thing. Anyway, it finally all caught up with him last night, and he's got an upset stomach today, so he's not going to be joining us on the Jack Murphy Podcast. But you're here, all beautiful 161 of you who have subscribed to the channel. So I don't know if you were surprised as I was, but I was pretty shocked yesterday when Sean Combs pretty much beat the rap. And, then you start hearing all these experts talk about the case, these lawyers, and apparently the Southern District of New York under Joe Biden really overcharged him. A lawyer friend of mine did a post on Facebook about it, and RICO it's hard to prove. It's hard to get a conviction, and they couldn't get anybody to flip. So what they're left with basically is prostitution, I think. And from the sound of his lawyers, they're going to appeal even that. And I think he could possibly get 5 years, but they're saying maybe a year or two and maybe even just probation. So once again, we see that the American legal system works for the really rich people, but not the really poor people. That's all I'm saying. Now, as we get ready to celebrate the 4th of July, America's birthday, there's a story here that's going to shock you. You might want to sit down for this, because a household name, something that all of us have used our entire lives. I dare say you've probably eaten thousands and thousands of their products over your lifetime. It's a staple on store shelves. Even fresh fruits and vegetables at one point they did. The Del Monte company is going bankrupt. Can you believe that? Del Monte? After I saw it and I started to think about it, I said, well, basically now they're a canned food company, and everybody's so health conscious now, people are eating less and less canned food and more fresh food. So it's just people aren't buying canned food anymore. They had a bunch of debt. They're a 138-year-old company, and they file for bankruptcy protection. They say they're going to sell off part of the company to try to save part of it. By the way, speaking of eating healthy, the Journal of Nature Medicine, they just printed this big article about processed meat. I want you to think about something for just a second. When you cook a turkey at Thanksgiving, what do they tell you? You put that thing in the refrigerator because you're going to have turkey sandwiches. And what do they tell you? Don't eat that turkey after about 4 days. And after about 4 or 5 days, it starts to get kind of rank. But you can go to the deli case at the grocery store, and you can buy packaged turkey, and you pick it up, and you ask yourself, I wonder how many days ago this was a turkey before it got into this package. And I think we can probably safely say at least a week. And then you look on the expiration date of that deli meat, and it's probably 2 or 3 weeks down the road when you're not supposed to eat it anymore. How does that turkey magically last all that extra time when your turkey in the refrigerator goes rancid? It's because of all the chemicals and stuff, the formaldehyde or whatever they pump into it to keep it from going rotten. And that's why it's so bad for you. And now they're saying there is no safe amount of processed meat to eat. And that's hot dogs, turkey, ham, all the stuff we love. They're taking all the joy from our lives. It gives you increased risk of type 2 diabetes, colorectal cancer, and heart disease. So get off the processed meats. So I know tomorrow that a lot of you will be celebrating the 4th of July with fireworks. And I'm so over fireworks because it's like an attack in this neighborhood from about 9 o'clock till about 1 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it sounds like there are mortars going off. I live right on the North Carolina-South Carolina border. And in South Carolina, you can pretty much buy military-grade shells to shoot off for your fireworks show. I'm not kidding you. You can buy these big balls that are like this big. And so people just go across the border, buy them from Crazy Larry's Fireworks, and they bring them back over to Charlotte, and they shoot them off all night. And, of course, my dogs are trembling and peeing on themselves, and it's just a bad night all the way around. Now, in California, I lived in California twice, and there's always fire danger. So, you can't have a fire in your yard unless it's pouring down rain. I mean, I'm not kidding. It's that bad. You just can't do it because it gets so dry that just a little ash, I'll tell you how dry it gets. I had a riding lawnmower, and I had some grass on the back part of my property that had died. It was like this high. I take the riding lawnmower out there. The blade of the lawnmower hit a rock, and it made a spark, and the grass caught on fire. That's how easy it is to start a fire. But you can't burn anything out there. Really strict laws about fireworks. So every 4th of July, in fact, when I was on the radio in San Diego, we did it. We would produce this really long music bed, and it had hooks of all these hit songs, and it was syncopated with the fireworks show. We worked with the pyrotechnic experts to do it. But anyway, they had this big barge in San Diego Bay, which they'd done every year for the past 30, 40 years. And this thing is just loaded with fireworks. It's one of the bigger fireworks shows in the nation. And so they go set it all up on this barge, and then they detonate everything by remote control. And the TV stations cover it, radio covers it. There are literally hundreds of thousands of people around the bay watching it, and you can see it from all over. And that year, something went terribly wrong. And the entire barge, all the fireworks went off at once. And it just blew up the whole barge. It was crazy. But there's a little town in Northern California called Esparto, California. 7 people are missing after an explosion yesterday morning at a fireworks warehouse in Northern California. Caused a 100-acre fire after it blew up. By the way, 4th of July, I love it because I love to cook out. It's just a fun holiday. America's birthday. Everybody's in a good mood. But did you know it's the most dangerous holiday? It is. More people die on 4th of July or around 4th of July than any other holiday. First, there's a massive amount of travel, so there's a lot of people killed in car wrecks and accidents. And then the fireworks, there's all sorts of injuries. People blow off their hands, their fingers. People lose an eye. It's crazy. And then a lot of people are swimming who aren't very strong swimmers, mix alcohol in. People go to the beach. They get in the surf. They get overwhelmed. They drown. And then there's all sorts of grilling mishaps. The propane tank blows up. The grill catches on fire, and the siding on the house goes up. It's just a dangerous day. So have fun, 4th of July. But let's be careful out there. I want you back Monday for the next edition of the Jack Murphy Podcast. Now, I don't know why, but it always happens every year. People go to the beach in the summertime. The hottest time of the year. If you're in the South, I never understood that. I grew up in Georgia. And every year in June, we went to Panama City. It's like 101 every day, blazing sun, just unbearable heat. But when you go to the beach, so right now if you go on Facebook, you'll see all these people that are on vacation from Orange Beach, Alabama, all the way down to Naples, Florida. And it's these people at the beach, and they get out there. Everybody gets out their phone, and they're, get out of the water, get out of the water. And the person could be, unbelievable, look at that, it's a shark. Like you're shocked that there are sharks in the ocean. It's the ocean. That's where they live. And they sometimes swim up near the shore. So it's not that shocking. Anytime you go in the ocean, you're taking a chance on losing a foot or a hand or a whole leg for that, or maybe even your life. All right, a couple of days ago, I did a poll on my Facebook page because my friends, John Garrett and Matisse, John Carter, we got in a conversation, and they were forcing me to pick my favorite album of all time. And I immediately said, well, what genre? Is it country? Is it rock? Is it pop? What is it? I mean, you can't just lump everything in together, but I was told, yeah, you got to. You got to lump them all in together, and I chose Fleetwood Mac Rumors as my favorite album. It's held up very well since the late 70s. Still listen to it today, still love it. But I have a new list for you today. This is a list from UltimateClassicRock.com. They did a poll, and they came up with a list of the top 50 rock bands of all time. Now, I read the top 10, and I was immediately skeptical. So what is your favorite rock band of all time? That's a really tough one, too, because you got so many to choose from. Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Supertramp, Styx, BTO, Bad Company, the Allman Brothers, Leonard Skinner, on and on and on. But the number one band they picked was the Beach Boys. I mean, the Beach Boys are okay, but the number one rock band of all time? Come on. Come on. Let's get serious. Here's the list. Number 1, the Beach Boys. Number 2, Tom Petty. 3, Van Halen. John Garrett will love that. 4, Creedence Clearwater Revival. And number 5, Aerosmith. Now, here's where it gets crazy. Then they've got the Doors, Talking Heads. At number 8, they have R.E.M. Nothing against them. But at number 9, the Eagles? You're telling me you think R.E.M. is a bigger band than the Eagles of all time? Get out of here. In fact, I'm going to go with the Eagles as the top band of all time. I'd love to know what yours are in your comment. All right, sorry, I know that many of you tuned in today not to see me, but to see John Garrett. He's at home recuperating. Hopefully he'll be back on Monday. But I hope all of you have a great 4th of July. Be safe out there, and we'll see you Monday. Don't forget, hit the button and subscribe.
Thanks for watching the Jack Murphy Podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Go ahead, ring it. Get alerts when a new episode drops, and tell your friends about the Jack Murphy Podcast. But only the cool friends, please. Tune in next time for another episode of the Jack Murphy Podcast.